warm welcome to Benchmark Magazine. Today we're doing a profile interview about Verkada. We're focusing on perimeter security and how it is moving beyond traditional detection towards something far more proactive. As organizations look to prevent incidents rather than simply investigate them, AI, automation, and tighter system integrations are becoming central to the conversation. I'm joined by Shen. He's the Senior Manager of Product Marketing and Alarms, Gateways, and Security Trailers at Verkada. Max leads product marketing across those areas and has previously worked on cameras, access control, and visitors management, giving him a broad perspective on how perimeter protection fits within a fully integrated security platform. Prior to Verkada, Max was at Microsoft, where he worked on Azure AI and Teams. Max, thank you so much for joining us. Let us start with the bigger picture. How does perimeter security sit within the Verkada's overall strategy?
Perimeter security is really what Verkada thinks about as the first line of defense for the customer. So it is extremely important in terms of our product solution and product portfolio. When a customer is thinking about security, right, they want to prevent incidents from happening and intruders from actually reaching their building. And so being able to detect and respond as those threats are emerging and approaching is an extremely important part of the Verkada solution. And so we've built a number of products and capabilities that work together to enable that.
So would you say that there was a gap in traditional perimeter protection that you are aiming to address with the AI-powered deterrence?
There is a huge gap when it comes to traditional solutions for perimeter security. Traditional alarm systems don't actually work outdoors because if you think about a motion sensor, they will trigger hundreds of times per day on any type of motion, whether it's a car or a tree branch falling or even wind. And so alarm systems cannot be used outside. And so the only solution that customers traditionally have used is on-site guards for perimeter protection. And we know that can be cost prohibitive. There's a short supply of human guards, and they also can't be everywhere at once. And so that's why we built actually a number of AI features for perimeter protection. Specifically, the one that we launched most recently is AI-powered deterrence, which uses our outdoor cameras to detect unwanted activity that you care about, like somebody hopping your fence or loitering in an outdoor area, and then triggering an AI-generated talk-down message from an intercom or a speaker, Verkada speaker, that can then try to deter that unwanted behavior or intruder and prevent them from actually breaking into your property or causing harm to employees.
Wonderful. So could you explain to us how does contextual AI-generated audio change the dynamics between detection and response? As you were saying just now, it can detect and send a verbal message. But how does that influence the response to the threat or the intrusion?
Being able to use AI to do scene analysis and customize and personalize the talk-down message has been a huge step up in our deterrence capabilities and is something that we're sort of a pioneer for in the industry. Specifically, the biggest benefit is making the deterrence message sound a lot more human-like and making the intruder or suspect think that it's an actual human that's live monitoring the situation. And so that makes the deterrence a lot more effective. The other part where it helps a lot is it can actually see whether the threat is still present, like whether the person has left or not, and be able to escalate further messages and further warnings if the suspect has not left. So I'll give you an example. For example, let's say that I am a manufacturing facility with an outdoor equipment yard, and I have vehicles and equipment that I want to protect in my yard. Um, a, in the middle of the night, a person walks into the yard, maybe because I don't have a fence or there's a break in the fence line. They come in, they wander in, and the camera detects them, and it will start the deterrence process. And so it will start with a first message that the customer can actually customize. And this can be a relatively courteous message if the customer actually expects some foot traffic at night. For example, we're currently closed. Please come back during business hours. And only if the person continues to stay in the area will the AI actually then escalate and personalize the message. Hey, you in the dark hoodie with a backpack, please leave the area. Otherwise, I will take immediate action. And if they continue to ignore the warning, then we can even escalate to a more aggressive as well as and still personalized message. And only after if they ignore all three warnings, we can escalate all the way to an alarm, notify the customer, dispatch police, whatever the customer defines as the alarm workflow. And so
So,
this end-to-end solution that uses AI allows us to be a lot more flexible and protecting of much more variety of environments.
so there are three touch points of warning before you raise the alarm. And all of those three are generated, not only the analysis, but also the voice is generated by artificial intelligence. Is that correct?
The first message is actually defined by the customer, and then the second and third warnings are generated by AI and personalized. All the
Mm.
voices are AI generated, though. There's actually no live human that's speaking through the speaker.
And if you had a security guard in a central place, could they also talk?
If you have a security guard or a SOC team in a central place, they can absolutely also take over and do a live talk down as well. In fact, even if you don't have a person in your organization to do that, once the situation escalates to an alarm, actually Verkada alarm monitoring agents can do the live talk down on behalf of your organization.
So any option, you have it already. That's great. Where are you seeing the strongest demand for mobile security trailers and flexible perimeter deployments?
Mobile security trailers uh, have been a huge easy button when it comes to deploying perimeter security. Uh, to have perimeter security, the minimum components are a camera and some type of speaker, right? And in a lot of the environments you're trying to deploy this type of security, you don't actually have power and or a network. For example, a construction site, right? You don't really have any infrastructure there. And so security trailers have been a great way to bring perimeter protection to those types of sites without having to rely on existing infrastructure. And so we have a lot of customers in construction, in utilities, for example, EV charging, oil and gas. We also have just large school campuses that don't have Ethernet trenched all the way out to their perimeter. And so a variety of these customers with outdoor locations are using the trailer as an easy way to put perimeter security wherever they need. And in addition, we also have a lot of event venues that are doing the same. For example, large stadiums, sporting events, they need this type of security and they need it temporarily during the event. And so, again, for temporary things, the mobile security trailer is a great solution.
And remind us a little bit how they work. Do they have a mobile SIM? How do they connect?
Mobile security trailers are battery powered and solar powered. So they have giant batteries that are charged by giant solar panels. And in terms of network connectivity, they typically leverage cellular connection. And in some cases, they use long range Wi Fi if they're deployed, say, in a parking lot that's close enough to the main building.
Fantastic. How do features like compound alerts and line crossing analytics help to reduce these false alarms and surface more meaningful events?
Line crossing alerts have done wonders for customers in terms of reducing false alarms. I'll give you an example that's top of mind for me. Terawatt, they are an EV charging provider for autonomous vehicles and as well as EV trucks. And they have a facility down in LA where their perimeter is a shared fence line between their EV charging facility and a school field where kids are playing soccer. And so before we had line crossing detection, whenever the kids got too close to the fence, even though they weren't hopping over, it would trigger an alarm. And Terawatt's security team would get all of these alerts and have to respond and dismiss all of them. That presents a challenge, right? And so
Correct.
after we launched line crossing alerts, which got rolled out to all of their cameras without them having to lift a finger, literally false alarms went down to zero. And so that was a huge amount of time that their security team has now freed up in order to do more meaningful things.
To have another cup of tea or something
Absolutely, if that's what they want.
is needed.
Would you
All
like me
right.
to also expand a bit on compound alerts? Because that's a
Yes,
slightly
please.
different use case. Compound alerts are a step up even further from line crossing. What this allows you to do is to have a double trigger for an alert. For example, you can say, I only want to get alerted if the camera sees a person crossing this line and they are not wearing a hard hat. So that actually opens up use cases beyond perimeter security as well. You get into operations and workplace safety and preventing those violations. Of course, it's great for security as well. You can say, I only want an alert when somebody crosses my fence line or property line and they are, holding a large bag or they are for example, it's very useful in retail shoplifting prevention if you filter for people that are holding large bags because they're more of a potential threat when it comes to theft.
Fantastic. So, do these alarms and keypads play a role in supporting employees' safety? You were talking about people being secure. So, how does that work?
A lot of our alarm and security products actually have a role to play in employee safety as well. Traditionally, these security systems are more about detecting threats and preventing break-ins, but our system can do more than that. For example, we have a panic button solution that leverages the same alarm hardware infrastructure, and so you can very easily extend your alarm system to also include panic buttons that your staff can use to call for help if they feel threatened. And in addition, another example is our alarm keypad. In a traditional system, the keypad is typically a very dumb device that is just used for arming and disarming. But in the Verkada system, the keypad is actually an active tool for employee safety. Two places where it's useful. One is when an employee leaves at the end of the day, they can actually pull up camera feeds on the keypad because there's a touch screen that is fairly high resolution for a keypad. And they can check that the outside cameras are all clear of threats before exiting the facility and walking towards their car in the parking lot. So that has actually been a huge value add for making employees feel safe. The other part is in a duress or panic situation, a lot of organizations have a shelter in place policy where everyone goes to a back room. And typically that backroom is where a keypad lives. Now you can use the Verkada keypad to do two-way audio communication between the security team that sits somewhere else and the on-site staff to do things like confirm safety, issue instructions, and figure out what the best response is and how high the threat level is.
Max, thank you so much for all these insights. Now, looking ahead, how do you see AI continuing to shape the next phase of perimeter security?
AI is going to continuously make perimeter security more effective and more user-friendly because we are able to use camera feeds to do things like scene analysis and reduce false alarms and filter out things you don't care about. There's really infinite possibilities for the system to get smarter because there's infinite information available in video, and we can use more and more powerful models both on our cameras as well as the cloud to filter out the things you don't care about and flag the things that do require your attention.
Fantastic. Max, where can people find you? Where would you be at Verkada events, at industry events? Tell us.
Would love to chat with any folks in the industry about perimeter security. You can find me at ISC West later this month. You can find me at Verkada 1 in Miami later this year. And of course, would love to connect with folks on LinkedIn. I'm Max Shen. Would love to chat.
Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Thanks, Jenny. It's a pleasure.